In the quest for justice on Earth, we look back on February 1, 1965. Dr. Martin Luther King and hundreds of other voting rights activists were arrested in Selma, Alabama. In early 1965, civil rights groups including the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, began concentrating on voter registration in Selma, Alabama, a city with the lowest voter registration record in the state's Black Belt region. Dallas County Sheriff Jim Clark, others in local law enforcement, and county registration employees regularly used violence, discrimination, and intimidation to prevent Black residents of Selma from registering to vote. African Americans constituted approximately 50% of Selma's population in the 1960s, but only 1 to 2% were registered voters. On February 1, 1965, Dr. King led more than 250 activists to the Dallas County Courthouse to register to vote. All of them were arrested during the peaceful demonstration and charged with parading without a permit. In a letter written from the local jail that same night and later published in the New York Times, Dr. King decried the racist conditions in Selma and observed that there are more Negroes in jail with me than there are on the voting rolls. The arrests of Dr. King and the other civil rights activists resulted in protests in which African Americans were injured and killed. The Voting Rights Act was passed later that year, on August 6, 1965. It was a landmark piece of federal legislation in the United States that prohibits racial discrimination in voting. It was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson during the height of the civil rights movement. Fast forward to present day. A federal appeals court issued a ruling that would prevent private citizens and civil rights groups from filing lawsuits that enforce the Voting Rights Act. It basically establishes that all lawsuits must be brought by the Justice Department. The quest for justice on planet Earth continues.